Hi, Anna. It's so great to have you here.
I'm so glad to be here and talk with you. Thank you so much.
Sure. So I just wanted to have a quick opportunity. I was going to write in a newsletter and try to tell folks about what your new course is, but I thought just a quick 5-10 minute conversation hitting the highlights would be best to just hear it directly from you. And so you are Anna Lutz, and you're a dietitian, an eating disorder specialist. I know you're lots more going on, so if I miss something that you want to share, be sure to add that. But I've known about you for a long time. And you are one of those trusted few people that I feel like I can send folks to your resources. And so I was so excited to hear that you're doing a parenting feeding course. Your website has so many great, you have blogs and podcasts. You've got these great letters to doctors and camp counselors around weight and sort of how to have a camp experience that's safe and free from weight bias and some of that harm that can happen there. And that's all at sunnysideupnutrition.com. But I guess the main reason I'm here is tell me about this new online feeding course. What's it called? Kind of how does it work for parents who might want to access that?
So we are so excited about this course. It's called Anti-Diet Parenting. And the idea of the course is to provide parents with more support around how to feed their children in an easy, accessible way. So my counterpart in Sunnyside Up Nutrition is Elizabeth Davenport. She's also a dietitian. And we have private practices. And so often parents are referred to us for some kind of concern with their child, whether it's picky eating, slow weight gain, rapid weight gain, some concern that the doctor or the parent has expressed. And we might meet with a parent once or twice, but often it's hard for parents to keep it going because, of course, they're pulled in so many different directions. And so, kind of how we conceptualize this course is what kind of information might be really helpful to a parent in those first about 3 visits. So it's not, I can't say it's personalized, right? But it's for a group of people, but just some great information to help parents that are concerned about their child. And it's everything from looking at a child's growth to a list of pantry items. So there's very kind of practical resources in there, and then there's also um, some ways you can step back as a parent and start to think about how you parent, how your child eats. So it's really packed into 12 modules. And to answer your question, when you purchase the course, you have instant access to those 12 modules that consist of videos that you can watch, a downloadable outline if you want to take notes, and then some other resources throughout. And then you can also pay a little bit more for a community support element where you can interact with other parents taking the course, and then Elizabeth and I are having monthly Q&As, so we can kind of interact with people who are taking the course who have questions.
That's such a nice, accessible mix of sort of self-directed and then that availability of a community plus some access to the experts. And I imagine there are folks that come to who would have been referred to you who might do your course and then things are improved and on their way. And then others that I'm sure that the course will help with, like, hey, if you need more help, here are some more resources, and if they need more support, I'm sure that will help them make that decision too, because it's not always clear, like, is this something I can handle or do I need to get, a dietitian or a therapist involved?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. We don't want to, of course, pretend it's a replacement for treatment, but there is a lot of information that we've kind of packaged in a way that's accessible. And then, like you said, some parents might decide, wow, I really would like to dig in this more with a
Mhm.
dietitian or feeding therapist, that type of thing. So um, those are
And I
all good
love
options.
Yeah, I love that there's the video. I mean, I write books and I like reading books, but I also like having video. And so having the video and being able to slow things down or speed them up or watch them, and it's a really nice option for accessibility for folks who are more auditory or, want to engage in learning that way. So what ages is the main focus on, and who is the like the your I don't like the word avatar, right? But who is your imagined audience and sort of the age range that this is mostly aimed at?
That's great. So it's really written with anyone from toddlers to teens. And so I think it's really an appropriate course for any parent who has children that they're feeding. Um, and as you go through the course, you can kind of see, we'll talk about different developmental stages, really having the parent stop and think about their own child and how they approach food, how they kind of approach the world. And so really, I wouldn't say it's for a particular age child. I would say it's for the parent that has maybe some concerns, either concerns that their child about their picky eating, about their growth, or maybe even just worries of, I want to do this right. I don't want to mess up. I think we're all bombarded with all these messages all the time. And so it's meant to help people feel less worried and feel really supported. And so not to tell them what to do, but rather to be like, okay, I know how I want to approach feeding in my home.
Yeah, and so many of the parents over the years I've talked to have struggled themselves with their own eating or maybe even a history of an eating disorder. So that idea of like, well, trust your gut. I've had many say, well, I can't trust my gut. I have my own issues. And so it's sort of that hand with, and it's providing information, it sounds like, and support and to reassure where possible and offer really practical information. So that's great. So what if someone says, well, why do I need anti-diet advice? Like my kid's underweight or they're a picky eater. Why the anti-diet focus? What's that about?
Well, that's a great question. I really feel like dieting or diet culture influences all parts of our culture, and especially parenting. So there's different ways that this kind of dieting message that smaller is always better, that we should be restricting our intake, is kind of layered in different parts of parenting. And we know, you and I both know, that dieting is a pretty big risk factor for developing an eating disorder. And so as eating disorder professionals, Elizabeth and I really feel like it's one way to work towards eating disorder prevention, is to really create a home that is free of dieting messages, and that's good for all children, regardless um, of how they're approaching food, regardless of their size. Is really to say, diets are harmful, and we're not going to do that. And not that parents need to say that, but just how they approach food in their home, which kind of is the underlying message in the
Mhm.
course and in our messaging.
And I think some of those, parents might say, well, we don't diet, we do red light, green light. And so some of these other really common rules are actually kind of sneaky diet culture. And so that may be surprising for parents watching of like, oh, that's really kind of coming from that diet mentality and it's impacting my picky eater. So
Right.
really interesting.
So that's such a good point. And it makes me also think about the parent who themselves, of course, as a product of our culture, have certain thoughts about certain foods, and they don't feel like they should serve certain foods to their
Mhm.
children, or maybe not prepare them in certain ways, which may be holding their child back, their picky eater back, and expanding. Right. So there's
Mhm. Yeah,
another example of how diet culture
absolutely.
can kind of interfere with
Yeah.
that feeding relationship.
Mhm.
And you know that more
Yeah.
than anyone.
Yeah, limiting opportunities for sure. And I know for me personally, like my journey to understanding and healing a lot of my eating stuff came through helping my child. So that's another exciting angle of all of this too, is how much the parents may potentially benefit as well.
Yes, yes.
Well, any last words on this or information or where to find it or anything else you want to share?
Yeah. Well, yeah, we're just really excited about it. It's something that we've been working on together for a long time, Elizabeth and I. And it'll be it's right on our website, which is sunnysideupnutrition.com. There's a tab for course. And you can kind of choose between the just getting the materials, and you'll have that access to that. There's forever. There's no limit there. And then also you can add on the community support with the Q&A. Um, and to know that it's meant to kind of support you if you feeling like, what, this is something I need a little bit more support in. And what we know is the more a parent feels supported, how much that translates to their child feeling more supported in their feeding. So we're just really, really excited to get it out there and really appreciate your support.
Yeah, I'm thrilled to have another resource that I can, with clean conscience and knowing that they'll be in good hands with you all. So I'll post a link to your website in the description of the video here on YouTube. And thank you again for your time.
Thank you so much.
I hope it's a great success. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks.